Some moments change everything, and this is one of them. When Ty opens a message he never expected to see, the past he tried so hard to forget suddenly crashes back into his life. His mother, Lily, sober for long years, wants to meet Lyndy for the first time. And now Ty must face the question he has avoided for years. Is he ready to let her back in, or will he shut the door for good? Ty stared at his phone for several seconds before he could even breathe. The message was short, only one line, but it hit him harder than anything he had felt in years. It said she was nearby. It said she wanted to talk. And it ended with something he had never expected. I'd love to meet Lyndy, if you'll let me. For a moment, the whole world felt quiet. Too quiet. Heartland was peaceful that morning, the horses grazing, the wind brushing through the barn doors, and Amy calling Lyndy's name as she played by the fence. But inside Ty, a storm had started, the kind he thought he had put behind him. Lily had been gone from his life for a long time, not just miles away, but emotionally far lost in her own battles, her own mistakes, her own darkness. Years of broken promises had carved deep cracks in Ty's trust. He remembered birthdays where she never showed up. He remembered nights when he waited at the window, hoping she would come home sober. He remembered how every disappointment pushed him toward the kind of man he swore he'd never become. And now, after 4 years of silence, 4 years of trying to rebuild her life, she wanted to meet Lyndy, his little girl, the one person he would protect with everything he had. The thought alone made his chest tighten. Could he risk letting the past spill into his daughter's world? Amy noticed the worry in his eyes right away. She walked toward him, brushing dust off her jeans, and asked what was wrong. Ty didn't answer at first. He didn't know how to wrap years of pain into a single sentence. But he showed her the message. Amy read it slowly, her face calm but thoughtful. She knew Ty's history better than anyone. She knew how much of his heart still carried old scars. It's just a message, Amy said softly, placing a hand on his arm. It doesn't mean you owe her anything. Ty nodded, but his thoughts were tangled. Part of him wanted to delete the message and forget it ever appeared. Another part, the part shaped by years of becoming a father, wondered if giving Lily a chance might mean breaking the cycle that once broke him. Could he deny his mother the chance to meet her granddaughter if she had truly changed? Yet the fear stayed. Fear of opening the door to someone who had let him down so many times. Fear of letting Lyndy get close to someone who might disappear again. Fear of dragging the past into the family he had finally built. But the message remained unread on the screen, waiting for a reply. And no matter how hard Ty tried to look away, he knew this moment was going to follow him until he faced it. Whether he liked it or not, the past wasn't done with him. Not yet. Ty stared at his phone for several seconds before he could even breathe. The message was short, only one line, but it hit him harder than anything he had felt in years. It said she was nearby. It said she wanted to talk. And it ended with something he had never expected. I'd love to meet Lyndy, if you'll let me. For a moment, the whole world felt quiet. Too quiet. Heartland was peaceful that morning, the horses grazing, the wind brushing through the barn doors, and Amy calling Lyndy's name as she played by the fence. But inside Ty, a storm had started, the kind he thought he had put behind him. Lily had been gone from his life for a long time, not just miles away, but emotionally far lost in her own battles, her own mistakes, her own darkness. Years of broken promises had carved deep cracks in Ty's trust. He remembered birthdays where she never showed up. He remembered nights when he waited at the window, hoping she would come home sober. He remembered how every disappointment pushed him toward the kind of man he swore he'd never become. And now, after 4 years of silence, 4 years of trying to rebuild her life, she wanted to meet Lyndy, his little girl, the one person he would protect with everything he had. The thought alone made his chest tighten. Could he risk letting the past spill into his daughter's world? Amy noticed the worry in his eyes right away. She walked toward him, brushing dust off her jeans, and asked what was wrong. Ty didn't answer at first. He didn't know how to wrap years of pain into a single sentence. But he showed her the message. Amy read it slowly, her face calm but thoughtful. She knew Ty's history better than anyone. She knew how much of his heart still carried old scars. It's just a message, Amy said softly, placing a hand on his arm. It doesn't mean you owe her anything, Ty nodded. But his thoughts were tangled. Part of him wanted to delete the message and forget it ever appeared. Another part, the part shaped by years of becoming a father, wondered if giving Lily a chance might mean breaking the cycle that once broke him. Could he deny his mother the chance to meet her granddaughter if she had truly changed? Yet the fear stayed. Fear of opening the door to someone who had let him down so many times. Fear of letting Lyndy get close to someone who might disappear again. Fear of dragging the past into the family he had finally built. But the message remained unread on the screen, waiting for a reply. And no matter how hard Ty tried to look away, he knew this moment was going to follow him until he faced it. Whether he liked it or not, the past wasn't done with him. Not yet. Ty tried to get back to work in the barn, but his hands wouldn't stay steady. Every sound around him felt distant. The scrape of a shovel, the soft snort of a horse, even the echo of Lyndy's laughter drifting from the yard. It was like the world kept moving forward while he was stuck in a moment he didn't know how to escape. He wiped sweat from his forehead, though he wasn't even warm. The real heat came from the emotions choking his chest. The message replayed in his mind over and over, each time hitting him with a different feeling. Anger, confusion, hope, fear, and something he didn't want to admit, curiosity. What did Lily look like after 4 years sober? Did she sound different? Stronger? Was she truly clean? Or was this just another chapter in the same painful story? Ty leaned against the stall door, staring at the dusty floor. He remembered being a kid, waking up in the middle of the night to the sound of raised voices. He remembered hiding behind the thin hallway wall, hoping the storm would stop. He remembered how many times he packed his things, thinking he would leave for good. And then there were the rare good days where Lily smiled, cooked breakfast, and promised she would stay clean forever. Those were the days that hurt the most, because they never lasted. Now he had a daughter of his own. Lyndy, the purest part of his life. The little girl who ran into his arms every morning without fear, without doubt. How could he take the risk of letting someone unstable, even if she claimed to be different, into Lyndy's safe world? Amy found him again, this time sitting on a bale of hay, elbows on his knees, fingers locked together. She walked slowly, knowing he needed space but also knowing he shouldn't face this alone. "You're thinking too fast," she said gently. "I'm thinking too much," Ty replied. Not lifting his eyes, Amy sat beside him without saying another word. She knew silence could speak louder than any advice. After a minute, Ty sighed, a long, heavy breath he had been holding for years. "I don't know if I can trust her," he confessed. "I don't know if she's really changed. I don't know if she's ready. And I don't know if I'm ready." Amy placed her hand over his, grounding him. "You don't have to decide today. You don't have to force yourself into forgiveness. But maybe she's trying, Ty. Maybe she wants a better ending than the one she left you with." Ty's jaw tightened. "I don't want Lyndy to grow up with the same pain." "You won't let that happen," Amy said. "You're not your past. And you're not your mother's mistakes." For the first time that day, Ty looked up. His eyes were conflicted, but they weren't empty. There was a spark, a small, buried piece of him that wondered if a person could truly change. If someone broken could rebuild themselves. If a mother who had once lost everything could learn to hold on again. But doubt still sat heavy on his shoulders. What if she hurts Lyndy? Amy shook her head softly. "Then you protect her. But what if Lily really is trying to be better? What if this is a chance for you to heal too?" Ty didn't answer. The question hung in the air between them. Fragile and heavy, he wasn't ready to forgive. He wasn't ready to forget. But for the first time, he wondered if maybe, just maybe, he was ready to listen. Lily stood outside Heartland with her hands tucked tightly into her sleeves, as if the wind could reach parts of her she wasn't ready to expose. She had rehearsed this moment for weeks, what she would say, how she would stand, how she would convince her son that she wasn't the same woman he remembered. But now that she was here, every word she practiced felt too small, too weak, too late. 4 years clean. 4 years of fighting urges that whispered to her on the worst nights. 4 years of therapy rooms, empty coffee cups, support circles, and notebooks filled with reasons to stay sober. And every page had one name written at the top. Ty. She never forgot the way he looked at her the last time they spoke, hurt mixed with disappointment, like he was trying not to hope anymore. The memory alone could bring her to her knees. But she didn't come to Heartland to run from her past. She came to face it. Lily took a slow breath, her eyes drifting toward the barn where Ty was working. She wondered if he would look older now, stronger, happier. She hoped he was. He deserved a life that wasn't shaped by her mistakes. When Amy approached her from across the yard, Lily stiffened. She recognized Amy instantly, kind eyes, steady posture, the calm presence she always had. But today, Amy also carried something else. Caution. The kind that protects a family. You must be Lily, Amy said gently. Lily nodded, trying to hide the tremble in her hands. I didn't want to cause any trouble. I wanted to see him. And maybe meet my granddaughter. Amy didn't judge her, but she didn't smile either. She stood as someone who cared about Ty too much to give trust too quickly. He's taking time to think, Amy said softly. This isn't easy for him. I know, Lily whispered. Her voice cracked on the last word. I hurt him so much. I hurt everyone who tried to love me. That's why I've spent the last 4 years trying to become someone who doesn't break things anymore. Amy listened quietly as Lily spoke. And once the words started coming, Lily couldn't stop. I went to rehab, she said. Real rehab. And I stayed. I didn't run this time. I didn't quit when it got hard. I faced the things I kept drinking to forget. And I promised myself that if I ever saw my son again, I wanted him to see a woman who fought for her life. Not someone who threw it away. Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them back. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect trust. I don't expect anything. I just wanted him to know I'm still here. And I'm trying. Really trying. Amy's expression softened slightly, not out of pity, but understanding. She knew how much strength it took to rebuild a broken life. Lily, she said gently, Ty needs to protect his daughter, and he needs to protect himself. But I can see how much this means to you. If you're honest with him, if you speak from your heart, he'll hear you. Lily nodded again, but her voice was barely more than a breath. I just want him to know I'm not the same mother who walked away. I want to give him something better than my old promises. I want him to see I'm sober, I'm stable, and I'm sorry. The wind shifted then, carrying the faint sound of Lyndy's laughter across the yard. Lily froze, her eyes softening, her lips trembling. She had never met her granddaughter, yet that small voice felt like a reminder of everything she had missed and everything she still hoped to rebuild. Amy watched her quietly. She could see the fear, the love, the regret all fighting inside Lily. Whatever happens, Lily whispered, I'm ready to face it. I just hope Ty is ready too. Amy walked back toward the house with a slow, thoughtful pace. The conversation with Lily stayed with her, every shaky word, every quiet apology, every sign of a woman trying desperately to rebuild a life she once shattered. Amy wasn't naive. She had seen people promise change and fall apart again, but she had also seen broken horses learn to trust. She had seen families heal after years of silence. She knew change was slow, fragile, but possible. Inside the house, Amy found Ty in the kitchen, standing by the counter with a cup of coffee he hadn't even touched. His eyes were distant, as if he was replaying his childhood like an old film he didn't want to remember. Did you talk to her? He asked without looking up. Amy nodded and placed a hand on his arm. Yes. Ty waited for the next part, his shoulders tense, his breath shallow. She's nervous, Amy said softly. Really nervous. And she's not pretending to be someone she isn't. She knows she hurt you. She knows she broke your trust. But Ty, she's trying. And she seems honest. Ty exhaled sharply, rubbing his hand over his face. I don't know what to do. Every time I think about her, I feel like that kid again, waiting for her to come home sober, waiting for her promises to mean something. Amy stepped closer. And you're not that kid anymore. You're a father now. You're stronger. You get to choose what happens next. Silence settled between them. A heavy, complicated silence. Ty, Amy continued. You don't have to forgive her today. You don't have to trust her today. But maybe you can talk to her. Just once. Just to see where she stands. He looked at Amy with a seriousness that came from years of pain. What if she's lying to herself? What if she falls again? What if she hurts Lyndy? Amy didn't flinch. Then you protect your daughter. That won't ever change. But completely closing the door before even hearing her, that could hurt you too. Ty didn't respond right away. Instead, he walked to the window and looked out at Heartland, at the ranch that had become his home, his safety, his fresh start. He saw Lily still standing by the barn, her posture small, her hopes shaky. She wasn't trying to force her way into their lives. She was waiting, quietly, carefully, respectfully. She stayed, Amy said softly, joining him at the window. She didn't push. She didn't demand anything. She's taking this seriously, Ty. He swallowed hard. She looks different. She's different, Amy replied. But only you can decide if you want to see that for yourself. Ty closed his eyes for a moment, taking in a slow breath. His heart was torn between fear and curiosity, between old wounds and the possibility of new beginnings. Amy touched his hand, grounding him. Talk to her. Just a conversation. You don't owe her trust. You don't owe her forgiveness. You owe yourself clarity. Ty finally nodded slowly, unsurely, but it was a nod. Okay, he whispered. I'll talk to her. Amy felt a small wave of relief, not because the problem was solved, but because Ty had taken the first step. Not for Lily, not even for Lyndy, but for his own healing. As Ty walked toward the barn, Amy stayed by the window, watching him go. She knew this meeting could go 100 different ways, some good, some painful. But she also knew Ty needed to face his past in order to fully protect his future. Ty stepped into the barn, and the air felt different. He had walked through those doors thousands of times, but today his steps were heavy, slow, almost unsure. The scent of hay and leather usually soothed him. Now it only reminded him that life didn't stop just because his heart was struggling to keep steady. Lily stood near the far wall, hands clasped tightly together, like she was trying to hold herself from shaking apart. When she heard Ty's footsteps, she turned too quickly, almost afraid she'd miss him. Her eyes softened the moment she saw him, hope, fear, and years of longing crashing together all at once. Ty didn't speak right away. He kept a few feet of distance, not out of anger, but out of habit. A habit built from years of protecting his heart. Lily broke the silence first. You look good, she said, her voice gentle but unsteady, stronger. Ty's jaw tightened, but he didn't look away. I had to grow up. The words weren't meant to hurt, but they landed like a weight between them. Lily nodded slowly, accepting the truth without argument. I know, she whispered. And I'm sorry I wasn't there to help you do that in a better way. Ty crossed his arms, not out of anger, but because he didn't know what else to do with his hands. Why now, Mom? Why after all this time? Lily swallowed hard. Because for the first time in my life, I'm not running from myself. I'm not hiding behind excuses. I'm sober, really sober. And I needed to see you, to show you I'm trying to be better. Ty looked down at the ground for a moment, breathing deeply. You've said this before, I know. Her voice cracked. And I broke every promise I ever made. I know you have no reason to believe me. But Ty, I've been clean for years. Every day. No slips. No hiding. I did the work this time. Silence stretched again. But this time it wasn't empty, it was full of memories neither of them wanted to relive. Lily took a careful step forward, but not too close. I'm not asking to be forgiven. I'm not even asking to be part of your life. I just hoped you might let me be part of hers. Lyndy's Ty froze. The mention of his daughter changed everything, tightening the boundaries he was barely holding together. His expression hardened just slightly. Lyndy is my whole world, he said quietly. I won't let anything hurt her. Lily's eyes filled, but she didn't look away. I would never hurt her. Not now. Not ever. Ty shook his head, pain flickering across his face. You hurt me. A lot. Lily closed her eyes briefly, as if the words pierced through every layer of her. I know, and I will live with that for the rest of my life. I can't change the things I did. I can only try to be better from here. The barn door creaked slightly as a breeze pushed it open, letting sunlight spill across the dust on the floor. Ty took the moment to really look at her, at the lines on her face that weren't from age, but from battles she fought alone. At the steady calm in her posture that didn't exist years ago. She wasn't the same woman he had grown up with, but she wasn't a stranger either. She was something in between. "Why do you want to meet Lyndy?" he finally asked. Lily let out a shaky breath. "Because she's part of you. And because I want to do one good thing in this life that doesn't come too late." Those words hit him deeper than he expected. Not because they were perfect, they weren't, but because they were honest. And honesty had been missing between them for too long. Ty didn't give an answer. He couldn't. The truth was, his heart was still a battlefield, and he wasn't ready to declare a winner. Not yet. The sun had dipped lower in the sky, painting Heartland with warm gold as Ty stepped out of the barn. His chest felt heavy, but not the same kind of heavy he carried earlier. This weight was different, uncertain, hopeful, uncomfortable, but real. The kind of weight that comes right before a choice that might change everything. Lily remained inside the barn, wiping her sleeves across her eyes. She didn't chase after him. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't try to force the moment into something bigger than it was. She simply waited, quiet as the dust drifting in the sunlight, letting Ty walk away on his own terms. And that, more than anything, showed how much she had changed. Ty walked toward the yard where Lyndy played with her small wooden horse. She looked up as soon as she saw him, her smile wide and innocent, her tiny boots thudding across the ground as she ran into his arms. He lifted her with ease, holding her close, breathing in the peace she brought him. "Daddy, what's wrong?" she asked softly, brushing his cheek with her small hand. Ty kissed her forehead. "Nothing, sweetheart. Nothing you need to worry about." But inside, his mind was spinning. He wondered what kind of future she deserved. A future filled with safety and love. Or a future with missing pieces that could have been filled. If only he had been brave enough to try. Amy stepped onto the porch, watching him with her steady eyes, the same eyes that had been guiding him all day. She didn't ask what happened. She didn't pressure him for answers. She knew Ty needed space to breathe. So she just stood quietly, a grounding presence in a moment that felt like standing on a shaking bridge. After a long silence, Ty finally turned toward the barn. Lily was still inside, standing exactly where he left her. She looked up when she saw him coming, her breath catching, her shoulders lifting slightly in surprise. She didn't expect him to return. Not today. Ty stopped a few feet away from her, Lyndy still resting in his arms. He took a long breath. "The kind that comes before courage, Mom," he started, his voice low, unsure. Lily's hands flew to her mouth as tears filled her eyes again. She didn't speak. She didn't dare break the moment by moving too quickly. Ty shifted Lyndy on his hip and continued. "I'm not ready to forget everything. And I'm not ready to say everything is okay. But," he swallowed hard, searching for the right words, "I'm willing to try." Slowly, Lily nodded, her whole body trembling with relief she didn't dare release. "I understand," she whispered. "Thank you. Thank you for even considering it." Ty looked down at Lyndy, who was watching Lily with curious, gentle eyes. She had no idea about the past. She had no memories of broken promises or missed birthdays. All she saw was a woman who looked scared and hopeful at the same time. "Lyndy," Ty said softly, "this is someone important to Daddy." The little girl looked at Lily, then back at Ty, then reached out one small hand as naturally as if she were offering a flower. Lily gasped, placing her own shaking hand over Lyndy's tiny fingers. It wasn't a hug. It wasn't a reunion. It wasn't forgiveness. But it was something new. Something small. Something alive. A beginning. Ty didn't smile, but he didn't pull away either. And the moment held more meaning than anything he could have said. The three of them stood there, broken past, fragile present, uncertain future, all touching for the first time. No promises, no guarantees, just a quiet, steady step toward healing, and sometimes, one step is enough to change the whole story.